Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. We're here after, look, the first leg was absolutely crazy. I did not think the second leg was going to be even crazier when it comes to goals. What did we just watch? What did we just watch? Like, I'm in disbelief. I don't even have words for what I just watched, especially when you include the first leg. This was absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. And I just saw a stat that basically tells you why Inter won the game. I've just seen it here right in front of me. Let me bring it up right here. Look at this. Big chances. 4 for Inter Milan, 6 for Barca. Barca missed 4. Inter Milan missed 0. 0. Obviously, in a game, that has 7 goals for both teams, is going to be decided by who takes his chances. And, that has been what Barca have been so good at this season. That clinicality, taking your chances, killing off the opponent. But they absolutely couldn't do that this game. 6 big chances in 120 is, I still expect more, especially from this Barca team. That just shows how well Inter defended in this game. But it all comes down to clinicality. The 4 big chances missed. It's Yamal, it's Leva. Who else got a big chance here that they missed? Can't remember really. Olmo, 25th minute. I don't remember this one. They think that one is a big chance. This one right here, Ferran Torres chance. Yeah, I don't count that. He wasn't gonna score from that one. Eric Garcia, 53. Is this straight in the goal? I don't remember. Olmo. Yeah, that's the Olmo goal. Wait, where's the... Okay, so now Eric Garcia goal is gonna come. No, what? Where's the Eric Garcia goal? He scored it before Olmo, right? Oh, that one. Oh, that one was... Okay, so Eric Garcia got another one here. I don't remember that one. Maybe it was cleared off the line or a defensive block or something. But yeah, it came down to the opportunities taken. Inter Milan, heavily clinical. Every single big chance they scored in this game. I haven't seen anything like it. Yeah, Inter out-defended Barca. But what they did most was they outscored Barca, creating 2.28 XG. I know that they had a penalty that obviously led to them, having the opportunities that they have. But yeah, absolutely huge result here from Inter Milan in this game. All right. Absolutely huge performance here from Inter Milan. As I mentioned, the clinicality, going more in depth into the lineups right here. Sommer, what an absolutely huge game he had. There were 2 saves. That Eric Garcia save. Oh, now I remember. That's the Eric Garcia chance. 0.54 XG. That's a chance you gotta score. Barca had the momentum. And then obviously you go to the Yamal chance. Right before Inter... No, Yamal hit the post. Then Inter scored. Then Yamal had that chance in the last game. So we were just Barca not taking their moment. Sommer stepped up. Huge. That save he had on Eric Garcia, absolutely insane. I remember when Neuer had a similar one versus Theo Walcott. This one, potentially even better. What an absolute insane save from Jan Sommer. We saw him make some great saves in the first leg, but this one, he saved the better one for it. That save on Yamal as well, when Yamal cut in, that had to be a goal. I was even shocked when it didn't go in. So what an insane performance from Sommer. Going into the defense, they were very physical. They were very physical, especially on Lamine Yamal. Rafinha barely had any dangerous attacks or touches down his left-hand side. It was mostly down the right-hand side. And Bastoni, Acerbi, Mkhitaryan, DiMarco did a great job on Lamine Yamal. Maybe Yamal went past DiMarco, Bastoni was going to win the ball. If Yamal went past DiMarco, Mkhitaryan, Bastoni was going to win the ball. If Yamal went past DiMarco, Mkhitaryan, Bastoni, then Barella or Tanaluglo or Acerbi were going to be there. They talked before the game on doubling up and tripling up on Yamal, and that's exactly what they did in this game. And yeah, they basically took Yamal out of the game. So Yamal, think about it. Here's the pitch. Yamal was in this zone the entire time. They never let him cut into this zone, apart from that one shot which Sommer saved, or they let him go to the byline. And Yamal's crossing in this game with 3 out of 11 crosses. So they always took him to the byline and they were really physical, especially even Taremi, the substitute, when he came on, he won the ball back so many times from Lamine Yamal. So like this left side, they just defended so much, so well. Going to the right side, I mean Dumfries. We saw what happened in the first leg. We saw Dumfries with those runs, with everything he did. But I still don't understand. Like, Araujo had a bad game when he came on. But I still don't understand how you're not putting an athletic, physical specimen on Dumfries. And instead you're playing Gerard Martin. And Gerard Martin, like, offensively good, but how? We saw what Dumfries did in the first leg. He was absolutely chaotic versus Barca. You had nothing to defend against him. When you have Araujo on the planche, a physical, quick recovery speed, Dumfries once again eating very great in this game. I think Barella was good this game. Lautaro obviously coming back from the injury. Got a cheeky goal. And then Thuram. The link-up play from Thuram. He got 0 goals, 0 assists, but link-up play from Thuram was absolutely crucial in this game. Going into FC Barcelona, Ferran Torres, look, he's been overperforming, got the goal versus Madrid, got the goal versus Inter Milan in the previous leg, and then this game came. So not really that much, critique on Ferran Torres. This is basically the expectations on Ferran. I think he overperformed in the 2 previous games. Dani Olmo got a goal, good for him. But apart from that, I did not like Dani Olmo's game. When I usually watch Olmo, he is cooking. In this game, he was not really cooking, in my opinion. Lost the ball, obviously, for the first goal, I think, for Inter Milan in this game. Yeah, not the best. Needs to improve on that. Rafinha, great goal at a great time. Nearly got Barca the victory. Not a good game, though. Completely invisible for majority of the game. Going to Lamine Yamal, I think here's where like the controversial take is going to come, because I talked with Phil at halftime, and he's talking about Lamine Yamal was doing everything and all of this. In my opinion is, I think Inter Milan took Yamal out of the game, because the main difference between this Yamal performance and the Yamal performance at the Camp Nou is he was able to get into the box and get shots off. For the goal he scored and for when he hit the crossbar in the leg at the Mandzukic. This game, though, they kept him at distance from the goal the entire game. I can't remember, apart from the chance he created for Leva, which was a great cross, apart from that, playmaking-wise, he was nullified in this game. And goal scoring, he hit the post. That was more of a great shot from far away. He had that shot that Sommer saved. And then obviously had a big chance right after the 3-3 from Inter Milan from Acerbi. And Lamine Yamal does not score that. So if I had to give Yamal a rating or something for this game, I would give it like an 8. He tried really well, but he just wasn't good enough, in my opinion, in this game. But he was obviously the one that tried the most. Majority of the attacks going here. I mean, you can see he had 23 out of 36 ground duels won. Like, it was all on Lamine Yamal. And we have to be honest with ourselves. Where is Olmo? Where is Rafinha? Leva was injured this game, but where is Pedri? Why was there so much pressure on Lamine Yamal rescuing Barcelona from this game? How can you be relying on a 17-year-old? This guy is supposed to be your third option in attack, behind Leva, Rafinha, as he's been for majority of the season. But Yamal got the burden of pretty much everything. Obviously, Rafinha, with Balde out, Rafinha contacting, he doesn't have that pace on the wing alongside him. And with no Leva, there is no striker presence for Rafinha to find. And obviously, with no space in behind, there is no space for Rafinha to penetrate. And I think what this game shows is that Barca need another attacker with the technical ability, the dribbling, the playmaking as a Lamine Yamal. I'm not saying that you take Rafinha out. I'm just saying maybe it's because Olmo had a bad game. And Pedri. Pedri, I wouldn't say bad, just not expected from him. This was a big game, Champions League semi-final, and in my opinion, he's been Barca's best and most. He's been Barca's best player this season, but he had an off game. Barcelona needed Pedri today, and I think he should probably take the biggest criticism because he is the biggest player, in my opinion. Both him and Rafinha need to look at themselves after this game. De Jong, he was carrying the ball well, passing the ball well. Nothing special with him. Eric Garcia, great goal he scored. And I think both fullbacks, both Gerard Martin and Eric Garcia, did a good job. When you're in a Champions League semi-final and you have to play Eric Garcia and Gerard Martin, who, if you ask many Barca fans, they do not have any trust or faith in, and they put in a good performance like this, adding a goal, 2 assists, great cross from Martin. It's good. And then Chesney, sweeper, keeper, absolutely great. Apart from that, did not save a single of Inter Milan's big chances, but all of them were finished off beautifully. He was not going to save the pen. Fratesi's shot was impeccable. Martinez's finish was cheeky. Maybe he could have done better for that Cherby one. I also want to talk about Kubarsi. Kubarsi is someone that gets a lot of praise from this FC Barcelona team, but when he has a bad game, we have to be really critical. The defending that Kubarsi was doing in this game, it was not good. The tackle, I know that he has to make a tackle or do something in that instance, but gave away a penalty for the goal. And then I think it was the defending for the Acerbi goal. He lost the double header, ball went to the right side and obviously scored the goal. So not the best game from Paul Kubarsi. But Inter Milan, obviously, potentially we may play them in the Champions League final. We just got to get the job done tomorrow versus Arsenal, which I'm very confident in we will do. So we'll start talking about this Inter Milan team, the strengths, the weaknesses. But I think I've gotten a good picture about this Inter Milan team across these 2 legs. FC Barcelona, I think in every single way you can get knocked out. This is probably the best way to get knocked out. I know it also means that you were so close. All you needed was 1 goal and you potentially could have gone away. But it showed mentality from this Barca team. And think about it. They were only 1 up in this entire double leg versus Inter Milan. Only once Barca were up 3-2. And then Inter Milan immediately scored after that. So I think that is the biggest question mark for Barca going into next season, going into the Champions League, hoping to win the Champions League, is defensively. You cannot concede 7 goals. I mean, even Inter Milan need to question themselves defensively. Conceding 6 goals in a 2-legged semi-final, you should not be going through. But why they went through is because their opponent, FC Barcelona, conceded 7 goals. I think they've conceded at least 25 goals in the Champions League this season. Probably the most per game as well in this Champions League campaign. So a lot of question marks defensively on this Barca team. We obviously know that they're playing a high line of side trap. This is part of Flick. Maybe he has to adapt onto next season, but it was just a bit too easy for Inter Milan to get goals in this game. And it was really difficult for FC Barcelona to get goals. Apart from that patch, they got the 2 consecutive goals, carried on the momentum. Rafinha got the goal. But then it's that goal from Acerbi. It's that moment from Dumfries when he cuts in, puts it in, and it's a great finish from Acerbi. Great finish from Fratesi, great finish from Acerbi. What an insane game. What is that? 3, 6, 9, 3. No, 4. 13 goals. That has to be a Champions League record. Potentially a 2nd leg all time as well. But yeah. No, huge mentality FC Barcelona showed when they were 2-0 down. But it just wasn't enough. Obviously, they can strengthen some pieces going into next season. They can maybe look on upgrading on De Jong. Maybe, obviously, Leva was injured today, so you can't say that against him. But, I mean, he's getting older and so on. Maybe get someone in for him. Maybe get some better backups. But I think the biggest thing going away from this game is it's too much reliance on Lamine Yamal, and Flick potentially has to start adapting his tactics, because that's the thing when you play the Flick ball, when you play the high risk, high reward football. When it works, Flick is the GOAT. When it doesn't work, Flick is a maniac that threw away the game. Because we have to look at the space that was available when the game was 3-2 before Acerbi scored. Look at the amount of space behind the Barca's high line. Why are you doing that when you're 3-2 up? 3 minutes left of the game? So for me, the man that has to receive the most criticism for this defeat is Hansi Flick and his football. Yes, Hansi Flick's football was taking Barca to these heights, to the Champions League semi-final, to pretty much a domestic treble. But it also was caused them conceding this many goals. It was caused them, that Dortmund, that Benfica game, and all of these previous games. But then also individualistically, Rafinha has been touted for a Ballon d'Or today. He was nowhere to be seen apart from the goal. Dani Olmo, higher expectations on him. Pedri, higher expectations on him. I mean, Yamal, I can't really put any criticism on him because, Inter basically had 2 to 3, maybe even 4 players sometimes on him, and he tried his absolute best throughout that. But yeah, that's basically all of my thoughts on this FC Barcelona Inter Milan game. Definitely the most exciting game I've watched in football this time. You never knew who was going to go through. At one point, Inter Milan was going to go through, and I saw the comments, how is PSG going to potentially beat this team? Then it's Barca. Oh, Barca got the momentum. They're going to cruise this. Then it's back to Inter. Then it's back to Barca. I mean, it was a complete, chaotic, unpredictable, exciting football match of 120 minutes. We just got to get the job done tomorrow, and then we can start focusing on the white, blue, and black of Inter Milan. Whilst Barcelona, they will obviously have El Clasico on the weekend, try to finish off the league, either get a draw. If they let Madrid win, then, you know, the rest of La Liga is going to be really tight. How will Barca mentally be after, you know, this defeat? It'll be very interesting. Inter Milan, obviously, they will, after this game now, try to focus back on Serie A, hope that Napoli drop points so they can potentially win the league. And the Champions League final is obviously played at the end of the season on the 31st of May. So they have a long time until that Champions League final, and tomorrow they will be knowing who they will be facing. But that's been it from my boy PSG, and hopefully guys have enjoyed my quick thoughts after FC Barcelona and Inter Milan and in a 4-3 goal thriller. That's been it from boy PSG, and as usual, allez, Paris.